in us and watching the chaos.
I do wonder. It does seem a bit weak that Destiny isn't really giving specific examples for what Pisco was saying in either in like one of these debates or whatever. Like it's something that he's done there that's ceding too much ground to these like lefty types. Because it's all like, it is just like vibes. And if you're Pisco and you genuinely don't feel like you've done anything that bad, then it's going to be quite hard to communicate that. No? You should research. What? In general? 5 hours. Apparently it's actually only 1 hour. And then it's just Destiny talking some shit. Okay.
This has been a campaign, at least by Dan Saltman, specifically to smear me.
Talk to Dan, talk to Ethan Klein on that. I don't give a most of the time for any of that. You can ask my chat, you can watch literally any of these programs.
It feels like he's your attack dog. It feels like he's your attack dog. You have plausible deniability. That's what it feels. I'm just telling you how it feels. I'm telling you how it feels.
I think you're, listen, I still love you, buddy. But yeah.
Uh-oh.
So do you think that he would, so, oh, I see Destiny in the stream disagreements. Let's bring him on. What up, Steven?
Hold on, I heard people were discussing me. What's going on here?
So the point is the following, as I understand it. There's this clip going around from after November where they're represented, you're floating, synergistically working with Hassan and Vosh for the purpose of turning out the vote for Democrats. If that's the case, would you have a problem with us doing a similar...
What's the context of that clip? What am I talking about in that clip?
I'm not sure.
How long have you been talking about it?
He brought it up. I've seen what he brought up.
Well, people just told me that there's a conversation going on here, but how long has this conversation been going on about the clip?
It's about 15 minutes, maybe. And
you have no idea what the clip is about?
I see the guy, this guy, whatever his name is, Paul something. I've heard him on your stream before. I have no idea of the context, broader context. If there's something you want to clarify, I'm asking people to come on and clarify it.
Oh, okay. What's the... I don't know why you would ask other people to come on and clarify, but I'm guessing it probably came from a larger video. I don't usually do like...
What's your deal with Pisco? I don't know yet. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind. Okay, I can write off a few things. I don't think he's grifting to tankies. That's not what's happening. Are we okay to leave that one? That's kind of where I am now. He seems to maybe not know that much about socialist and communist messaging and dog whistling or whatever the fuck else. Again, it doesn't seem like it's ever been his wheelhouse, so big fucking deal, but we'll see.
20-second videos, but it's possible I did, but my guess is probably
there's a big stream, Paul's ego stream, and I'm usually, this is disagreements. I'm bringing on people who want to take issue with how I present myself in the debate, and we brought an Ogre Boy who's a communist. I was going to yell at him about being a communist, and he brought up this clip.
Ogre Boy!
And I'm asking people to, you know, is this out of context? What's going on? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I'm wondering about it.
Okay, sure. So I don't know what the... I don't know what here. I don't care. I know because I've said this like same thing like 4 or 5 times. I think what I've said is some variation of it would be really cool if all the largest like left-leaning content creators could do content together, but they can't because they're all literally brain broken on it. Hassan is too cloud obsessed to work with Vosh. Vosh is too brain broken and scared of debating me, so he won't debate me. And then Hassan won't work with Vosh because Hassan only goes upwards when it goes to clout. So as a result, all of your largest leftist content creators literally can't do any content together, as opposed to the right, where all of these guys are literally like each other in the White House now with Benny Johnson, the Russian paid dude, because that's how like integrated their system is. And I said, man, it's gonna be nice that the people over here are able to work together, right? So earlier I made the joke about you, and I heard you say this.
Like the roadblock isn't.
What?
The roadblock isn't you, though, correct?
There are a million different roadblocks, but it depends on what you're talking about.
If someone were to ask you flat out what the roadblock is between the three of you working together, and then you responded with, it's not me, it's them, and then you explain why it's them.
What do you mean by working together?
Synergistically working together, and the afterthought was...
Do you mean like doing debates on like Israel-Palestine? Do you mean doing...
What did you mean? What did you mean by synergistically working
What did you
together?
mean?
Well, literally doing any type of like content together would be a huge boost for viewership for all of us.
As opposed to antagonistic. Antagonistic, I take to be kind of contentious. Synergistic. What did you mean?
I'm saying even a debate can be antagonistic. Like antagonistic content can still garner views too. But usually when I'm bringing this up, the point is that
these people missed your second super chat. I'm so sorry. Wow, stop what we're doing. Thanks for the £5. Don't you think normies might compare Israel's actions in Gaza to the Holocaust because it's the most famous genocide and they don't know much history, not anti-Semitism? I mean, the intent could be different, but like I guess the thing you're communicating is probably still the same, right? Like you can ignorantly do bigotry, I guess. Generally with the average person, if they like, say if I was just talking to a random person at the fucking pub and they were like comparing Gaza to the Holocaust, I probably wouldn't really hold it against them. I would just maybe, I think you dive in a little bit. But when it comes from a content creator who or like a political commentator who claims to be the informing the people, like then I'm like, yeah, I'll hold you to a higher standard. Barabbas, thanks for $10. Regardless of what anyone says, the image of baby Muhammad should enrage all of us. I want justice for Palestinians and Israelis yesterday. I don't know what image you're talking about, but okay. Is that like one of the people who starved to death? Or all right. Vazaraka, thanks for the tier 4 sub. Appreciate it.
Specified both, to be clear.
What?
You specified both, to be clear. You said antagonistic, but even synergistic. You gave both options on the table, and in that specific event, you said that the obstacle was not them, that it was you.
What do you, okay, why don't you tell me what you think I meant? Let's hear it. Well, I'm curious.
I think I'm going to be polite and not actually think what I think the motivation behind it was, but ultimately I'm saying
no, wait, wait, hold on,
reality where you're saying wait.
No, say what you mean. What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm going to be polite and hide my feelings like a little bitch. Just say what you mean. What do you mean?
Whoa, not that.
Well, if you look at the timing on when you're saying this, I think you were kind of in a spot where you were desperate for as many associates as you possibly could.
What is this after the pixie shit or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Have I ever said this comment before on stream?
Not to my knowledge.
I've said it like 4 or 5 times before. If you go and you could probably ask my chat, like, has Destiny ever said, wow, isn't it I've probably even said this on podcasts before, that it's crazy that all of the largest leftist content creators can't do content together.
So would you work?
Destiny generally does the thing where he talks about how like it's a shame that the big left-wing creators don't do anything collaborative, but I think he means collaborative and like they're just like screaming at each other. Like they should do more debate content. That's the gist, isn't it? But apparently this one clip, he said it's synergistic, which would suggest that he was saying that he would like to do collaborative work with Hasan. What would that look like? They can compete to fundraise, get their communities competing for, or canvassing maybe, but yeah, I don't know.
Work synergistically in the future.
This has nothing to do with anything that we've talked about.
It may or may not.
It doesn't.
What?
So you
wait,
saying that the roadblock is them and not you. As you said on your VOD that is still on your channel, what I linked in both Pisco's YouTube and in his Twitch channel.
Okay, boy. Let's assume that the reason why, okay,
there's no reason for formality.
Let's assume that the reason why I was so desperate, okay, to escape, you know, the racist reputation or whatever, that I wanted.
Ogre Boy is like, he just sounds like he's been stoned for about 45 years. Totally fucking soft in the skull. Damn, he's debating Destiny though, eh? I guess he debated me once on Hutch's thing, but generally he's a bit avoidant.
To work with them, how would that even be an argument in your favor?
Because it shows that you were desperate and that you were nowhere near as bitter, maybe like a spite-filled as you are now towards seeing other people growing and branching out and networking beyond accolades that you should be getting.
Hold on.
By the way, this wasn't after the Pixie stuff.
Hold on, wait. You think that my goal was to grow and branch out and that I was only doing this out of desperation? And if that's your assumption of my mind state, why would you take that as a foundation to build a good argument for building collaboration in the future?
Wait, ultimately, I'm still saying that you're hypocritical because at the end of the day, you're taking a position.
This is how it feels when I've got other wankers on my Discord trying to butt into a 1v1 conversation. Oh, no. This is jarring. Oh no! Is this what I've been doing the whole fucking 2 years?
Full well about at that point in time. You knew anything and everything that you needed to know about Hasan in regards to how he talks about.
Hey, there's Tequila Sunset. He's in our community, or he used to be.
About the Democrats and anything he has to say about terrorism. And at that point, you're saying it would be great for you guys all to work together synergistically.
Okay, so
if you're telling me that I'm reaching out at a point in time where I am compromised in some way, and then you're trying to say, aren't you being hypocritical? If that's your mind read of me, then the answer is probably yeah, right? Like, let's assume that I was addicted to crack cocaine and I went and stole food from the store. Hold on, haven't you advocated in the past that people shouldn't steal? And when you were addicted to crack cocaine, you stole? Doesn't that make you a big hypocrite? And you're not.
Well, let's just let's put that aside. Let's put that aside. It's just like, what is the actual prescription? Would you be open to, in the future, working synergistically with Vosh and Hasan to promote the election of Democrats as your today position?
At this point, I'm not entirely sure, but it depends on what you mean by working synergistically.
What did you mean by working?
What do you mean by working synergistically?
Well, according to you, I was just desperate to do any content. I'm trying to see what you mean. Generally, when I talk about this, I would have to see the particular video this is pulled from, but generally when I talk about this, I usually just remark at the irony that all of the largest leftist content creators cannot work together, and that's crazy to me. I'm not the. I'm the.
Do you have Pisco's YouTube chat open? I'll drop the link in there so you can watch it yourself.
Wait, I'm just.
They are the roadblock when it comes to things like so Hassan is the roadblock when it comes to debating, obviously. Vosh is the roadblock when it comes to like debating and doing content together. Vosh is somebody I'm still kind of sort of on the fence on because I don't know where the fuck he's at with the whole whatever shit. But like the point when I'm generally making this is that like it's just crazy that none of the largest leftist content creators can work together. That's insane.
Okay, but excising them for the Nazis that they are, that's not an issue then.
When I say excising for the Nazis somebody is, when I say that, what I'm saying is that Nazis will deliberately hide their power level. They're not forthcoming with their beliefs, and they're usually trying to be subversive in whatever movements they enter.
So let's just get clarity.
Hassan's belief on November 30th of 2024.
Do what?
You discovered Hassan's beliefs on November 30th of 2024. Because you said this on November 29th of 2024. So if he was hiding his power level and you found out the next day, I get it then, I guess.
Hold on. Let me ask you one more time. I don't know if you keep forgetting this. What kind of content did you think I was saying that I would do with Hassan? What, that I would go and campaign with him for socialists, or that I would do debate content with him?
I don't know.
Actually, you said both. You said get out the vote, and you said debate content. You said antagonistic content, and you said synergistic content.
Do you think that it would have been to go out and
view videos?
Do you think that it would have been to go out and promote socialism, socialist candidates? Or do you think it would have been to promote?
No.
Like,
does it matter?
Does it matter?
Does it matter?
Yes, it does matter.
Oh, wait, so I can work with the Vanguard, therefore, to get out the vote for Democrats, right? Synergistically.
You're not working with the Vanguard in the capacity to get out the vote for Democrats. You're working with them when they're actively shitting on the party.
No, but I take those videos, the high-performing videos.
Hadn't shit on the party on the end of November of last year?
So,
what? Is this going to be do I have to produce the clip on my cell phone in bed? No. Like, your mom's already pissed enough at me that I'm like rolled over, not talking to her right now. What do you want me to do? You want me to dig a clip out? Do you think Hassan was a huge fan of the Democratic Party in November of last year?
Can he just say what he means by synergistic? Because I don't think he means collaborate to a common goal with Hassan. He might mean it with Vosh, because they did that, and they chatted outside the White House. Because Vosh, I've said this a million times, Vosh is actually like, he would make an amazing social democrat if he wanted to be, right? He would be he's all smooth. He knows how to communicate those that kind of messaging. He could just go like to be like a social democrat canvasser, like I just think he'd be really good at that. Or just in general, like a communicator. But obviously he chooses the weird fucking anarcho syndicalist shit with talking about how he'd be okay if Israel got eradicated as a state. And the horses, I guess that's unfortunate, isn't it?
Or good boy?
No, I don't think
I'm asking you if that's your opinion.
No, my opinion is Hassan's probably hated the Democrat Party for years. Generally, when I make this comment, my comment is it would be cool if like all of the leftist content creators could work together for the Democratic Party. There's a whole host of reasons why this isn't happening. None of this is getting you any closer to should we appeal to socialists or communists who hate Democrats in order to work with them?
No, but you wouldn't have a problem.
You wouldn't have to appeal to Hassan in order to work with him?
I would not. No, if I have to appeal to socialist values to work with somebody, I'm not going to work with them. No.
So do you think that's okay, Pisco, sorry, it's your stream, go ahead.
I just want to ask, like, so if we're doing a get out the vote thing with the Vanguard, you don't have a problem with us working in that capacity. You don't have a problem with us, even if I were to go on Hassan's stream to promote candidates for Democrats, if we're working synergistically for that specific end, as opposed to promoting socialism, you wouldn't have a problem with me going on the Vanguard to be like, hey guys, it's important to vote for Democrats, and working synergistically and building a relationship with them for that purpose.
In that capacity, probably not. I don't know if they would be interested in that, but I'm all like, in that case, I'd probably be okay with you going to Nick Fuentes' stream in that capacity. Like, yeah, why would I not want anybody to just promote the candidates?
So in what capacity do you think that I failed in the Vanguard situation?
That's a good question.
I'm not. It's not a hyper like you failed in this conversation. I failed in tons of conversations. The issue that I have is that socialists and communists, the entire media apparatus that they built, is like honed in on relentlessly on the Democrats, and all of the media figures in the sphere do it. I don't know if you've watched or I don't even know what you think about it, but that crystal ball interview with the senator from Michigan was just unbelievable to me. And when I see this happening over and over again, and then they're trying to build bridges to liberals, never in my life have I ever seen a leftist talk about how we should do this, guys, so that like we can like help the liberals more. Rarely they'll talk about being more mask on, which sounds subversive and is subversive. Like when Hassan was saying like we should use the Democrats as a weapon, but they don't ever seem interested in building a bridge towards us. So why would we build a bridge towards them when their goal is literally the eradication of our side?
What do you think Hassan wants to use the Democrats as a weapon to do? What's the end goal? I just want to hear from you.
Exclusively socialist and communist candidates.
Like what? Oh, exclusively socialist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't like liberals, Ogre Boy. I don't know why you're.
Oh no, we agree. We agree.
You think that he's a fan of liberal candidates?
He's not.
No,
Ogre Boy, hello? Hey, hold on. Did your thing cut out? Ogre Boy, do you think that he's a fan of liberal candidates? Do you think that Hassan would work to get liberal candidates?
Ogre Boy's so fucking cooked, man. He has no idea.
Just elected?
Actually, well, if we're being very specific, as long as they had the decent position on Israel-Palestine, yes, he would.
I don't think so.
Name one.
There's one fucker that has been tweeting about it recently that he does mention during his streams. I can't think of his name right now.
Okay.
But I can. Wait, there is one.
Ogre. I want to focus in therefore on the criticisms of me and Live and Learn and what's going on here. So, our stated intent. You might think we're fucking stupid. You might think that we're like deranged or something, but our stated intent, to the extent that we're like building bridges, or to the extent that we're like having these people on, is to help Democrats, is to help elect them. And in that context, can you identify any criticism or prescription you have of me specifically?
I don't know how many times I can say this. The issue is not like, it's not one like word you could say or thing you could do, or it's the idea, this general approach. I guess it's possibly to dig through the VOD and look, but it's the general approach of befriending socialists who will relentlessly shit on the Democrats, and then like incorporating them. And when I say incorporate into the movement, what I mean is you're just attaching them as a leech to absorb whatever they can from us or from the Democrats.
Last year, when was the DNC convention? Wasn't it in the summer?
Yeah, who cares?
Right?
I don't know why.
I mean, that's before November when you said all this shit. So he said everything that he was going to say about Kamala at that point, right?
I don't know why.
Because you're saying if they're going to relentlessly shit on the Democrats, that's a deal breaker, yet you were talking about you would work with
synergistically.
them.
Are you really going to hang your hat on this one quote without even knowing like the context of where this quote came from?
You think I didn't watch the live stream?
Then tell me the context of the quote. What am I even talking about in that video?
The person that you were having the convo with asked you what is stopping you from working with them again. You said that it isn't you because you talk about all the time about how the three of the biggest leftists, blah, 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 blah. And then you end up saying that the roadblock is entirely in their direction, not in yours.
And
so
what is the
if that's the case, that makes all of this current...
Guy hasn't learned he's a third wheel. He is massive third wheel vibes, yeah.
Discourse really stupid. Because at the end of the day, it's something that you're trying to apply to other people and not to yourself.
Do you think there's a difference between working with somebody to promote a candidate after the primary is over? Do all the same colored crayons taste the same, or is there like a difference in flavor between different colors?
Okay. Believe it or not,
hold on. If somebody wants to come and work with somebody after the primaries are over, then like I think that's fundamentally a different type of question than working with somebody when we're not even.
When they had the Vanguard on, the primaries were over, right? Like you were far enough in between.
I remember this conversation I had with Ogre Boy when I was trying to like press him on just his lack of knowledge on the Israel-Palestine stuff, and I was like bring up examples, but every time I gave him like a counter example or showed him why what he was saying didn't make sense, he just had this really weird rebuttal, which was to say, "Oh yeah, I'll see what you're doing. You're looking through all the history books and finding this one thing, and that makes it all okay." I'm like, you are such a fucking incurious person. Like, you don't give a fuck about learning any of this shit. Like, you just care about, like, why do you even think your position is right? You don't know anything about it. It's just, yeah, the guy is just like a proper, he's very soft-skulled individual.
In any election whatsoever, so it really didn't matter, right?
History, he kept calling it history autism. What an asshole. You with your history autism. Bro, like, it's not even history though, it's also current affairs. Like, you have to, it's just knowing details about things.
The question is then what is the goal at that point? Like,
Pisco, what was the goal?
If Hassan wants to build a bridge with me or wants to do something with me like 10 days before the election, at that point, honestly, I'll probably throw anybody on.
I know, but these elections, you know, these election cycles.
I'm just saying for Ogre Boy, right? But that's fundamentally different than like, what about like 100 days before like a primary or something, when their rhetoric has exclusively been centered around on every single electable like center-left candidate. And at that point, no, it's probably going to be if I do any content with them, it's probably going to be incredibly combative. Would be my guess.
Okay, but like these these election cycles, they're pretty far out, Stephen. And, you know, it's pretty hard to like have these kinds of, you know, synergistic plays have any impact if there's not like a pre-existing structure for it. That's the whole criticism of like the Democratic Party is they don't have a structure for this. And so surely if you can recognize the utility in, you know, building alliances to Hassan and Vosh and the 10 days before election.
I saw Vegan Gains in here earlier. Has he become based over the years? Vegan Gains is still mental, I think, but we like having him around. You know, he provides some memes. Thanks to $5.
Why wouldn't that also apply in the 2 years before the election?
If we both had
25 days after, but go ahead.
Let's assume, Ogre Boy, get the 64 pack and go eat some more crayons, okay? Let's assume that we both had a gun to our heads, okay?
The crayons
Peace
again.
gun. We had to guess.
They're coming
if
up.
you and if Live and Learn and the Vanguard and two other whatever, you guys have equivalent size audiences. If you were to do highly collaborative content for 6 months, do you think that more of your guys' audience would be completely turned off from voting for establishment Dems, or do you think more of their audience would be completely turned on to voting for establishment Dems? Because I've only ever seen the flow work one way. This is why I said in our conversation 2 days ago or yesterday or whatever, where I was like, if the media environment was like half the socialists were kind of like supportive of the mainstream Dems and the other half were like relentlessly shitting on them, I'd be like, you know, whatever, I'd feel differently about it. But I've only ever seen this pipeline, this flow go one way.
I think I want to give it a try, and the reason I want to give it a try is because like I said before, I think there's an evolutionary niche for these socialist people. They're going to exist no matter what. I can't make them not exist anymore. And I think that I have seen, for example, Breaking Point's become, and I don't say it's because of me, but I have seen it become criticized now for being more lefty as opposed to before. It was a right-wing show, and now it's highly critical of Trump. I think that there are ways to change minds, but it's hard to do when we try to do that, we get accused of being sweepers for tankies and communists when you can't even identify a single criticism you have of the shit I did in the one interaction that started this whole thing.
Okay, so first of all, if you want the criticism, just go back and listen to what Hutch said, because he's the one who had all the initial criticisms. I basically agreed and amplified them. I agreed with everything that he said. I don't remember the exact the video. We could go over it, I guess. My issue is, again, to the broad way that I'm saying, is that the flow only works one way, where when you start associating, not you, but in general, when liberals and socialists associate, the goal of the socialists is always to extract as much.
No pressure, but it would be quite handy. Fuck. I need to stop playing with these fucking Allen keys because I keep on loosening the thing. Anyway, it would be quite helpful to know the examples of where Hutch was being let down, because I remember getting that impression. I just don't remember taking notes on them because I thought it was just like a didn't even think it would be that big a deal. Just where is whatever. They just kept ganging up on him. Yeah, that was the impression I thought I had. Yeah. I seem to remember having that impression from watching it. But I was also, was I gaming? I can't remember. Was I even streaming when I watched this?
From the liberal side as possible, and then to move away with as many people as they can steal. And that always seems to be the case. And then electorally, you can tell me if you agree or disagree, like it feels like the issues that Biden was hurt the most on, and then eventually Kamala was hurt the most on, weren't these issues that we were were too far theoretically to the left on anyway? Like stuff like immigration or stuff like trans issues. Like what even is the idea that if we would appeal more in that direction, we would have picked up more voters?
The Wall Street Journal ended up saying that Kamala's economic policy was muddled and that she fell flat on her face because of it. It goes beyond culture worship.
Okay, Ogre Boy, with respect, I'm going to disconnect you for a second.
Thank you, Ogre Boy. You read a Wall Street Journal article. Okay. There was also kind of like the problem with every incumbent at that time, which was inflation, which did fuck every incumbent in the developed world in the space of 2 years. Even ones that had been in power for the 99% of the last fucking 70 years, like Japan. The Liberal Party in Japan got fucked by it. Yeah. Trump's Truth Social ordering 2 nuke subs off Russia is an odd place to read news. Welcome back. Well, that kind of real news. I mean, listen, if Russia wants to spend 4 years saber rattling over nukes, then let's do it. Why not? Pop off.
And thank you for bringing the clip to attention. Thank you. Mantis, you're or whatever. But I don't know. Like, if you're saying it's hopeless to get these people in our orbit or to agree with us, if it's all a useless cause, or that it can only do more harm, is it like, what is the prescription here? Like, what do you want me to do?
My prescription is that I think that there is a huge base. I had the fear that they didn't exist prior to that No King's March, and then after it happened, I was like, oh, I think there's a huge base of center-left people, and I feel like the issue with the moderate Dems right now, the reason why people feel like there's no leadership of the Democratic Party or anything else, is because there's no like strong platform of democratic values that are being championed by a democratic media apparatus. That doesn't exist. So when you look at the democratic media, there's two things you can look at. You can either see the mainstream media, who are all literally terrified of Trump derangement syndrome and are like constantly reminding themselves how horrible Biden was and how he was senile and everything and blah, blah, blah. That's all they can talk about to prove how like good they are and that they're not like the other Dems. And then you get the left wing, they're the leftists, the socialists and commies, who are all exclusively shitting on the Democrats. So you have nobody standing up for you in the center left media. And then when I look at like, we dominated in 2008 with Obama, he won his re-election. We lost unfortunately to Trump, but we lost with Hillary getting 3 million more votes than Trump. And then Biden came back and he destroyed it with more votes than have ever happened in the history of presidential election. Okay, and all this like appealing to the kind of like moderate left Dems. And then for some reason,
what about this? You think I disagree? Like I agreed with that criticism. I agreed on the day after the election when Tyler Cohen was there, and we were like all talking, like yes, and we were like preach and cook BTC, because what PTC was saying was, look at how much they can give each other flowers. Look at how much they collaborate. Look how much the media like makes connections and builds bridges with each other and builds the system. But when we are like reaching out to audiences, yeah, maybe they have bad views. They disagree on. You have bad views. I disagree with you on people disagree on stuff. But okay, fine. I am trying to use their platforms. I'm trying to build those connections. I'm trying to go on breaking points to get them to hate Trump. But I'm getting stymied because all of my replies, first of all, my videos get downvoted to shit. All the responses, you're covering for tankies. You're doing this because you're trying to appeal to Hassan's audience. Everyone calling me a fucking cuck. And like, what is going on? If there was any like ever going to be like, no, I'm going to say we're small potato.
I'm just laughing in the sense that like, is this maybe the first time Pisco's ever had big blowback for something from another community, or one that he thought might be close to him? Because when that does happen for the first time, it does massively fuck your head. I've never really had it from, I guess there was like one point very early on when I had it from DGGers because of what the fuck was it even over? Can't remember. It was really early on though. I was very small. But yeah, I don't know what Pisco's actually done to warrant like those kinds of accusations. I don't know if it's the kind of thing where like Destiny is shat on a bunch of things, but then they've been shitting on arguments rather than whatever else, rather than bad faith accusations of grifting or whatever. But obviously when that happens, like TGGers take that and then they just turn it into the worst fucking thing, which is like, and then they might actually want to accuse them of being a fucking tanky sweeper or whatever the fuck. The glitter bells of the country. But I mean, unfortunately, that just goes in all directions. It's funny that, it's a really good example is Queeman. Queeman can be so... I've never had the impression of my like tiny conversations with Queeman that there was any bad faith or anything coming from him. Like he seemed to be very straightforward and curious about my opinions, and like he was willing to like acknowledge the bits that I said that he thought were reasonable or made sense or whatever, or he's willing to listen when I was going to tell him about something he didn't know about. So where there's like Israel Palestine shit. But man, his audience fucking hates me. They fucking despise me. And I wonder if it's just because his audience is like overlapped with the anti-Ethan crowd or the anti-Destiny crowd. And that also entails, like he does have a very strange number of Bana Panada fans in his community. But that's also weird because you would think that they would shit on him for not being fully against me. But maybe they're just like the leftovers of, they're just like the spare parts of that community that only are more interested in drama than the politics. So... like we had it when I would raid him, because I used to raid him quite a lot, but now every time I raid him, people in my audience are like, yeah, they kind of hate us. And like, oh no, not Lonerbox fans. I'm like, okay, shit, maybe I'll send you guys somewhere else. Yeah. But the funny thing is that like, I don't think I would ever blame would I blame Queeman for his audience, like with the accusations they made on me? It would have to be like quite closely connected to something he said about me. But I don't know if he's ever said anything about me that gets them to say that. It's just that there's like sometimes, or maybe like people hear Dan being more aggressive towards Pisco, and then they're also Destiny viewers, so they attack Pisco, but because they believe Dan's accusations rather than Destiny's, then Pisco attributes them to Destiny, like that kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know. The very simple way around this is just that no one actually knows you online. Like you can stream your entire fucking life every day for 8 hours, and the fact is that even people who watch you all the time, they really don't know that much about you. Because you're just living a very different like set of rules and a different set of customs. Dan going after Pisco wasn't good. Yeah, because Dan's hyperbolic, you know? That's what he does. Yeah. He's a bit extreme. Oh, well.
Live and learn small potatoes. But we are like a description of the kind of pro-Democrat, budding, I don't know, media people that we would want to encourage. But instead, it feels like at every opportunity, you're trying to destroy us and you're trying to break us apart. It's like you're trying to split up, live and learn. Like you're trying to give your flowers to Hutch and be like, look at all these, they should call it like a socialist and learn. Like it feels like it's incredibly acrimonious, personal. And yeah, so it doesn't feel like the effort here is to do what we like, I thought recognized was important to do after the election.
Sure. So let me repeat this. So you feel like the frustration is that you're trying to find ways to build what you view as being an important coalition to vote for, hopefully, the Democratic president, and that every single time you try to reach out and do it, or at least in this particular instance, we try to reach out and do this, as soon as you reach out to who you feel could be a valuable coalition member, you're just getting annihilated by somebody else that you thought was supposed to be, electorally at least, an ally, basically, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Take that feeling and amplify it 50 million times more, and then replace me with leftists, and then replace you with the Democratic Party, and you've explained completely the entire left-wing media apparatus for the past 8 years, okay?
Aaron is rotting Pisco's brain too. I don't know if you guys are like, it's weird because I tend to hear this from misogynists when they'll be like, oh, this guy is like hosting a podcast with this girl who's stupid and she's like making him dumb, or it's often the accusations we made of like girlfriends doing this thing as well. But it's weird because like aren't women supposed to be like the dumber ones in this world? Why would she have any influence? If Aaron has the power to rot Pisco's brain, it's because Pisco's brain is already rotted. Like if that's actually what's happening, like I just don't like these weird explanations. Like. I don't think I've seen any indication as well of like Aaron's IQ rubbing off on Pisco. I haven't seen it yet. Sorry.
How many times do I have to hear that Bernie Sanders was robbed of the election?
We agree.
But if those are the people that are constantly attacking you, and they're not attacking you because they disagree with your...
No, your people are attacking me. Your people are attacking me. The people who used to love...
Wait. But when my people are attacking you, right, it's because I think that you're making a bad strategic choice for Democrats to win. When the left is attacking you, leftists, it's because they disagree with the ideology. They want a total reformation of the party. They're not talking about like, I think that you need a 20-an-hour minimum wage instead of a 15-hour minimum wage. They're saying things like minimum wage is a distraction from class struggle, and that's why the left and the right are the exact same in the United States, and we need a revolution.
I haven't heard that from Crystal or Kyle. Maybe the Vanguard say that. I'm not sure, but I just don't think that it describes my content. And notwithstanding the fact that I'm not reaching out to people like Mike from PA.
Did you see Crystal's interview with the Michigan senator?
Yeah, with Alyssa Slotkin. I didn't see it. I've heard of it. I heard it was a hard-hitting interview because guess what? Breaking Points, for all it is not a show for Democrats. It's initially it's like a show for all media types and like right-wingers. You started as a show for right-wingers. So I'm not surprised that Crystal Ball, who is a journalist, all right? She's not just a Democratic stooge, right? She's a journalist, that she's going to give a hard-hitting interview to a Democratic candidate because she doesn't have an allegiance to the Democratic Party. And
she didn't give a hard-hitting interview. She did a cuck purity test on Israel-Palestine. It is not a hard-hitting interview to scream at somebody for 10 minutes. Is it a genocide? Is it a genocide? That's purity testing on an issue that you will never win a single election on. If that's going to be like our standard for left-wing media figures, because now I could be wrong, and maybe you just said what you just said there, that Crystal is just a media person and you wouldn't consider her left or right. Is that really the position you've had? You would say that Crystal's just a totally independent media figure?
No, I think she's left wing. No, I think she's left wing, but I do think that she's a journalist and she's not just there to give hand jobs to senators. And yeah, I agree. Like, I haven't seen the interview. I'm not saying that I've seen the interview, but it doesn't surprise me that she's been pressing on Israel. I'm going to be honest, like, because of what's going on in Israel, in Gaza, and the Democratic Party, many people feel like...
You recall from that interview, Pisco hasn't seen it, but you recall from that interview, she was saying that there was a policy of starvation and that they should be obligated to bring aid in and that what Netanyahu is doing is criminal. This is a fucking Democratic senator saying all this, which is more than you're ever going to get from any fucking Republican, unless that Republican's a Nazi, right? Who hates Jews. But Yeah, but Crystal Ball just goes like, so you understand that it's a genocide and ethnic cleansing, and like, fuck you, man. But again, because Crystal was only asking those questions, not for any policy prescription or any call outs. It's because she wanted to purity test this person into saying that we should completely stop all connections with Israel. Just a complete fucking global embargo.
Is lack of leadership on that issue, and she's speaking voice now to a growing resentment of the Democratic Party.
Also, Doobie, bless his completely uninformed heart, is doing the same thing that every other fucking cunt does now, where they'll find this poll. It's like, oh, Democrats are more sympathetic to the Palestinians than to the Israelis. Look at all this, like, look how far left we're fucking turning, bro. Like, has more sympathy what with the group that's getting fucking bombed and is hungry and starving? Like, fucking yeah, of course we'll have more sympathy with them. What do Democrats think about the two-state solution versus the one state? What do Democrats think about like calling Israel an apartheid ethno-state and forcing it to dissolve through strength of arms? Like, these are not the same thing. They're not the same suggestion. Fuck.
And its members, not just its leaders, right? The people, the Democratic members, have soured on.
What's the issue with questioning politicians and their choices and holding them accountable? That's not what Crystal Ball was doing. She was purity testing on dumb shit.
Israel. And so in that sense, like, yeah, maybe she's given an antagonistic interview to the candidate / leader of the Democratic people, but people's approval, the Democrats' approval of the Democratic Party is
I love that. Whenever there's such the dishonesty when people do this, like when they take a specific interview or a specific interaction with specific issues, and then they will just retreat to this abstraction, like, what's wrong with having a combative interview with some pushback and critique? Like, fuck you. Like, oh, it's like commenting on the Hassan fucking Houthi interview, and they're just going, oh, what's wrong with asking a young Yemeni child's perspective on the conflict in the Middle East? Like, excuse me, what? What the fuck? That, yeah, nothing's wrong with that. Okay, can we go back to talking about the actual interview and the contents of the interview? You fucking tool. Yeah.
And so maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay to do that.
But the framing on this issue is so bad. If you like, when people say people are super pissed off about Israel-Palestine, that should be a reason to vote in larger margins for the Democrats than to abstain from voting altogether.
Genocide light.
The only reason why somebody could justify abstaining, why you get almost 20 percentage points of voters in Dearborn for Jill Stein, is because voters were hoodwinked by socialists and communists that Democrats and Republicans had the same position on this issue, and that somehow that we can say like a 50-vote Senate for Biden is like the best the Democrats can do.
And your solution, is what? I mean, like,
it's to give them more votes.
No.
You think that Biden was 54 senators?
I want that, but like, it seems counterintuitive because like when the moderates, right? When people say you lost the moderates, usually the response is you should appeal to the moderates. Or like when you lose the voters in Dearborn, maybe you should appeal to the voters in Dearborn. I don't understand why the response from an electoral perspective is control the information streams, which you're never going to do. They just exist in an informational niche, which we're unable. We don't have, if we wanted to, we'd be unable to stop them from having the kind of, assuming it's significant, the significant impact that they have. And so I just don't understand.
That's literally where we live, is the information stream. If we say that we can't win that, then run a ton of ads, because like the war is over, right? Because this is where Republicans.
Hutch, Destiny, Connor, and Wick all have Israel sensitivity in common. Hey, not me though, eh? I'm immune. I'm too brown for them to lump me in.
Dominate. Like, if I would have bet you, 10 months ago, or if anybody would have bet me 10 months ago, do you think that Trump could admit to trafficking that woman at Mar-a-Lago to Epstein and his fan base wouldn't care? I would have said, no, that's obviously the breaking point. It would be way over before that. And holy shit, where are we at? Like, there has to be some level of like support for the Democratic Party. It can't be that like we lost the election and now we have to appeal to a group of people who fundamentally disagree with the entire existence of the Democratic Party and want to reform the Socialist Party.
And what Josiah and I have done, and Econoboy, I think as well, is regardless of this whole socialist thing, which I think is like, it's to me, it's not as important. And maybe I could be clueless about that. I could be.
Destiny moves to Israel within 2 years. That's the person who was sparking out in my chat the whole time, Harvey Marvey. Well, at least we know that's the kind of character that we've got in here.
Clueless about Marxist-Leninism, like all that. But what we've done is we've decided to focus on MAGA, the crimes of MAGA, the attacks of Trump, the what's going on in our institution. I go on to Crystal Ball show last week, Breaking Points, to talk about how Trump is up in every conceivable way on the Epstein issue, how he's up in every conceivable way with respect to the due process issue. Like the last time before that, I was also talking about immigration. Like I go on these shows and these platforms. I actually had the Vanguard on separately. Maybe you guys, if you want to find more clips of me like being nice to the Vanguard, I had a separate interview with the Vanguard, just me. So if there's anything like bad clips, you can go find that and see if I'm inconsistent. But so go watch that video. It's really great. But in that video, I'm agreeing with the Vanguard in terms of like, this is how bad Trump is. This is why it's bad for Mahmoud Khalil. So what's wrong with that strategy? If we're going to have any effect, it's going to be reaching out to certain people we vehemently disagree with, and making the case that Trump is awful, that we're in fucking hell right now. And I don't know what's wrong with that.
Here's the problem. This is what it's not enough to say. It's not enough to say that Trump is bad. You have to say that the Democrat is better.
I do say that.
That's not a thing that I don't think any of these people would admit.
Well, if what you mean is they don't admit it, they literally do admit it when they say they voted for them. Now that's cool, Tom. It's not enough. I agree. It's not enough. But they do admit the Democrats are preferable. Kyle does admit that. Crystal does admit that. Crystal had a whole debate with Cenk Uygur about why it was.
Yeah, I watched that debate. Yeah,
and she did amazing. So like, it's just not true. These people don't acknowledge the benefit of the Democrats. The problem is sometimes they have critiques that are unhinged, untrue. We don't agree with. They go too far. I get it. Some of them, I don't even put in the same bucket Hassan Piker and these other people who I'm not trying to build bridges with. But the resistance. Saying that when I look at when I saw that Hassan mentioned me on a stream. Do you know what all the ads were? They were like, "You got your wish. You got your wish. You just wanted to get in with Hassan." That's what people think of me because of you. That's what people think of me because of your audience, and that's not true. And I resent that a shit ton because that's not what I'm doing.
You resented, bro. You've been accusing me of being bad faith for the past whole week when I've justified every single argument I've given, and you just spent 20 minutes talking about a clip of me from 10 minutes ago saying I'm a hypocrite on this issue. Like, yeah, online politics sucks. No shit, Sherlock Holmes. You don't have to tell me that.
You can't.
I've been doing it for a decade. Yeah, it's horrible. No shit. But I'm just saying that when you're trying to appeal to a side of the media where the entire goal of that side is the destruction of the Democratic Party, listen, I mean, I can disagree and maybe, listen, you know what I love? You know what would be the best thing in the world is if 12 months from now, I'm on stream eating shit and all of these leftists are like, we're going to support the Democrats, we're going to canvass for them, and Pisco was so right. I'd be like, oh, man, I was totally wrong. The last 10 years weren't indicative of the motion forward, and me, I guess. But in my mind, and I'd bet money on it with odds, like what's going to happen is in 6 to 12 months, all of these guys are going to be shitting on Democrats constantly. The only candidates they're going to support are going to be ones that are avowedly socialist communists, maybe mostly ones that are primarying, like the already elected Dems, and that's going to be it. And then at the end of the day, they're going to continue the rhetoric of both sides are the same, both sides are the same. Like, why do you think the Republican Party is so unpopular right now, but the Democratic Party isn't popular at all? It's not just because the Dems suck. It's because literally everybody tells you the Dems suck. The Republicans tell you the Dems suck. The Dems tell you the Dems suck. And
guess what? The Dems suck. The leadership right now is, and
you don't suck though. You agreed with that. You fought with that on the Vanguard.
What I mean is the
electorally, they kind of their messaging. They have no fucking idea what they're pushing for. But yeah, but again, leftists aren't going to fix that problem. That's the issue.
Leadership, the makeup right now, the Dems are in disarray. The leaders are not doing a good job. And I've talked about it. It doesn't make me like my critique bad faith or I'm trying to appeal to lefties. When I say that Joe Biden did a Trumpian thing, I'm not saying that to appeal to tankies. I'm not saying that it's a Trumpian thing to do to like put your family before the country, that kind of thing, and that it's just as bad as what Trump did. I'm not saying that because I'm trying to appeal. Like, what commie is appealing to, like, is listening to that and being like, oh yeah, he's on Biden for the pardon. Most commies are like, oh, I think it's based that he pardoned Hunter. They're like, oh yeah, we love that he pardoned Hunter because he's a good dad. That's usually what the
no, they say it's based that he pardoned Hunter because the Dems and the Republicans are the same anyway. And if you want to criticize Joe Biden for pardoning Hunter, Joe Biden made a massive fucking mistake. The mistake was saying that he wouldn't do it. It wasn't actually pardoning him after 3 years of a Republican witch hunt of the 15th one they've done. It was that he said that he was going to do it. He shouldn't have said.
Okay, you can say that's reason, but my intention when I say things like Joe Biden, he fucked up the election in that sense, he screwed us over. Joe Biden, despite all the good things, I say he's the best president. I still say he's the best president of my lifetime. I still say that that he did a Trumpian move by closing the border and by pardoning his son. I'm not trying to appeal to commies. And when I criticize Chuck Schumer and say he should retire, when I criticize everyone who voted to censure Al Green, I'm not trying to appeal to commies. I'm trying to make the Democrats better. I'm trying to make the Democrats stronger because I think if these guys are in charge, we are cooked. And the only way we're going to win an election is just because maybe the Trump is so unpopular, but we're not maximizing our chances by having these people in charge. And so, yeah, I've shit on the Democrats a great deal. Josiah has, Hutch has, Econoboy has. Now, there's some bad faith criticism, there's some good faith criticism, but what you can't say is giving a hard-hitting interview to Alyssa Slotkin is like incompatible with us like going on these shows or like or fundamentally trying to.
It's never just that in a vacuum. It's just that like I agree that Dem leadership was like, and I shit on the Dems too. I joked that I don't even know if I was joking. I would primary any Dem that voted to censure Al Green. It's insane. Okay, like yeah, they.
I think if I was if I were Pisco, would I be annoyed about Hassan is manipulating them? Hassan is cannibalizing Destiny's Orbit, picture of Pisco. 5 days ago? What's this even based on? When did I watch this? It's Ethan. Huh. I feel like I'd be pretty mad. I don't really know what that's Is this a Hasan thing though? Because I don't even know if it necessarily. I'm looking at his chat. His chat are a little bit fucking mental. But yeah, I think Destiny did kind of sidestep that accusation that like people think Pisco is trying to grift to Hasan's audience. I don't think Destiny really answered that. Maybe he's got culpability for people thinking that. I don't think that's what Pisco's trying to do. I will say that when you're a streamer and you're building a channel, the Hasan teat is something that presents itself to you. Like that does happen. I remember years ago, before Ukraine, it was before Ukraine when I kind of always felt that there was something kind of like a little bit wrong with Hasan with the way that he advocated. I never watched that much though, so I just kind of played silly and didn't really care that much. But I think there are probably a couple of times, maybe there are still VODs of it. It'd be really old. There will be VODs somewhere. There'll be VODs somewhere of me like maybe being challenged on or being in a group call where they're talking about, can you believe Hasan did this mad shit? And I'm just like maybe a little bit hesitant to go hard on him because yeah, he used to watch my content like quite a bit. I was like, that's quite nice. Thanks for growth, whatever. But after Ukraine and after watching how he treated Adam something for not even attacking Hasan, it was because he attacked the Gravel Institute. And after the positions he was giving in Ukraine, I was like, okay, this is, I actually don't want this recognition. I don't want anything. This person is like an ideological foe who must be struck from the justifying the annexation of Crimea and shit. Fuck me. But yeah, that anyone who's telling you that incentive isn't there is probably bullshitting you. But I don't know if Pisco is like that's what he's trying to do.
Overlaid,
What's happening here?
Oh, hey.
Yeah, me and Kalinda are like having a very deep understanding and like the separation between communism and socialism.
No, we're not. I just
go to Lonerbox.
I was just fuck. I hope that like everyone doesn't hate me for this, but I still like. Listen, you haven't been here for like the past like week, okay? And nobody else is live at that time of night. So when no one else is around and I'm fucking bored, I will tune into Destiny's stream. So I saw a lot of those segments. And if you wanted like, I guess some sort of explanation, although I don't agree with it, I think he's being ridiculous. And I think it's pretty obvious that he has not been clear. And that's why Pisco thinks all the shit that he thinks. But if you were curious,
who's not been clear or ridiculous? Whoa. Name names that I have no idea what you just said.
I think that Destiny has been really ridiculous in the way that he has presented some of this stuff, where he makes it seem like at least, or maybe this is August's fault because of the thumbnails, but Destiny's argument is basically that
what happened?
I think she got EMP'd.
She got what?
I think she got EMP'd by the Iranian government.
Oh, happens to the best of us, eh?
Oh God.
Deactivated.
You know what? I should be a mod, bro. What the fuck is this bullshit? Like how could dude? You know what's crazy? Lonerbox. You know what's fucking crazy? Lonerbox.
Oh.
As a black man, okay. This is the pros and this is the pros of me having a mod. Okay. First of all, the only reason why Seb is a mod because he's Palestinian. Okay. He's a DEI mod, right?
Seb is like one of the most regular guests on the channel, and he's like he's like probably the person I get on with as a person more than anyone else in the community. What are you talking about?
I have more aura, more clout than all y'all niggas. Okay, 3.
More clout.
I'm black and Asian. Okay, more DEI. I'm more Asian than Seb. Okay, I'm probably more a DEI combination than Seb. Okay.
Okay. Well, if I ever get DEI policy, I'll come to you. Okay.
What? I didn't hear any of that because Discord fucking exploded.
Yeah, what were you saying? You were just start where you were left off.
Wait, where did I leave off? What was the last thing?
You were watching Destiny talk about Pisco, and you think you got things wrong.
Oh, okay. Let me try and summarize as best as I possibly can here. From Destiny's perspective, Pisco's community has been infiltrated by all the anti-fans and snarkers, and you kind of see those people in his chat. Like, I think he mentioned that Queenman was in his chat. Destiny considers Queenman to be one of his anti-fans and snarkers. Apparently, Queenman talks about Pisco or talks about Destiny a lot, and is part of that same thing with like Gisticle and all those other people. I don't know because I don't watch either of them really, but I do know that apparently Gisticle's kind of crazy, or other people have confirmed that on this issue. But yeah, so basically because
like
all
Queeman,
of those people,
Queeman and J-Stock will like debate people like DGGers about Destiny and all the
about whether or not
stuff.
he's
Wait, I have a
yeah.
question, Kalinda. Do you think like due to the stuff, do you think like all the anti-fans, all the overs who like disassociated themselves from Destiny became or leaned towards more favorable towards Hasan?
I mean, it seems like a bunch of them are doing that just because that they don't like him, but I don't know if it's. I think it's just a reaction to. That's just what I've heard, though. It seems like that. I mean, I don't know. Like you kind of see it. Like it's right there in Pisco's chat. Like the kind of like the weird shit with, and I've seen it in Pisco's Discord some too. You know,
there's a few usual suspects in here, like Doobie, that fucking Missy Elliott retard is in there. Like, there's Ogre Boy. But again, I don't know what they're getting out of Pisco's content because I don't watch Pisco's streams, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean I don't get that either, really. Like, I mean, maybe some of them came over because that he was saying nice things about Hasan with the he wasn't saying nice things. He was defending Hasan's story with the TSA shit. But I don't know. But I mean, I don't think that basically Destiny seems to think that Pisco has been influenced by these people. And I mean, maybe to a certain degree he has, but I don't know if that's true. Just because of certain things that he said, it'll come out more in this conversation. But like he's alleging that there's kind of like this big thing where what's happening is the snarkers are basically following him around or like following around anybody who talks about him. And that's why Hutch didn't want to participate in the discussion. Sev just set me on fire in Minecraft.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like I always get people saying that, oh, like the J-Stock people are going to come for you soon. I'm like, okay, maybe. Whatever.
I mean, you haven't even taken a side. I mean, you have taken a side. Your side is against Destiny, so I don't even think that it matters.
Yeah, but it's not really on their side either, right? Because I don't really.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I think the answer to that is that we don't like. Yeah, the answer is we just don't care, and we want no part of your stupid drama shit, or at least that seems to be your stance. Or at least I don't know. That's my stance. I don't care about any of this shit. I think this anti-fan shit is cringe. But yeah, But I mean, it's also like cringe to like go on Twitter and fight wars to defend Destiny and say that he did nothing wrong. So like everybody's cringe. But yeah, like that was the context of that. And I think that like I feel bad for Pisco because DGGers are being fucking stupid and accusing him of things that are not true, like trying to claim that Hasan is or that he's totally like going for that Hasan grift or some weird shit like that. When really I think that I just think he can't admit that he was wrong about the TSA shit. And he's just dug into it now. He's just a debate bro, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, Glitterbell is in the waiting room if you want more fun.
I asked her relevant on this. He said like it's not a wide number. It's only like a small majority of it. Like the typical people like Coleman and J-Stock. It's like a small number. I don't think it's like every over is becoming like pro Hasan. I mean,
there is something I'm kind of noticing, but again, it's like if I ever wanted to dive into this, I'd need to watch so many fucking streamers and gather so much shit. But I'm noticing this trend of like it's not people who are pro Hasan, it's people who are anti Hasan. it's people who are like, yeah, fuck Hasan, he's a dumb fuck. But also, aren't these other people just a little bit like too obsessed with Hasan? Like, don't they just talk about him too much? I'm like, okay, but you're talking a lot about people who you think talk about Hasan too much. What's that about? Like that's very odd to me. But again.
Oh yeah.
Why would I dig my heels into that fucking argument? Like yeah, there's a thing where it's like, oh yeah, that Hasan guy, he's really full of shit. He's like definitely not my political ally. But come on, did he really mean re-education camps? I'm sure he just meant re-education in like a standard rehabilitative justice sort of way. Like, whoa. Okay, are you always as charitable to people that you don't like or don't identify with politically? But whatever, that's not my battle. Going into that behavior, no interest.
Yeah, that would require watching way too much content that I don't think anybody cares about.
Yeah.
Well, actually, To be fair, people do care about it, and lots of people.
Well,
come
okay,
like
yeah, no, you're right.
To...
That's true. They do care about it. But yeah. Anyway, Glitterbell's in the waiting room if you want.
It's just gonna be too. It's just gonna be the no.
Okay, I get it.
Wait, when's the N-word debate, bro? Fuck.
Where's the what? The N-word.
What's the N-word debate?
Oh, listen, one day, okay. We're just seeing where we stand right now. I'm kind of making some adjustments in content. I want to kind of figure out where.
Wait, aren't you retiring? Aren't you retiring too?
Maybe.
Fucking over,
Don't
bro.
leave
it's
us.
over, bro. You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? Ken lived there. This nigga took 8 days off, right? He said, "Oh yeah, all right, I'll totally do that N-word debate Thursday, right?" I was like, "All right, cool." Motherfucker did a stream on Thursday. 8 days passed. I was like, "Damn, maybe the N-word debate is probably this week, right?" Motherfucker said, "I don't know, dude. You know, I'm retired, man. I might step away, bro." Like, what the fuck? Where's my content? But if you feel like stepping away, then that's cool.
Yeah, you still got your roster. You still got your squad.
I still have it. I think Starter said she might get into it. I think she said she might join the conversation if she has time.
Okay.
Oh boy.
So Maruti, she can't use the whole like, I'm the only woman in the debate. No,
I'm not doing an N-word debate this
why not?
weekend or this week.
Okay.
I am literally visiting my family in Michigan.
You could do it next week or 4 weeks.
Wait, when are you? But you are doing it, just not this week or
in the Discord. You're insane.
So just not on the weekend or in the week. That's it. But you are doing.
I mean, yeah, I will do it, but not while I am visiting with my relatives. No.
Why not? Like I can get there. I
can
get your.
It's not as important as seeing my family, but I still love it all. Some of you I love more than
is probably more groundbreaking.
And I will absolutely wipe the floor with you and whatever very white black caliphate you decide to put together.
Wow.
Okay.
What the fuck? Do I have to get like fucking Bibi Netanyahu on the fucking debate panel? Because like you can okay, Murti, that's some bullshit.
Bye.
She's just racist. Okay, she's just racist. Okay, like what the fuck?
All right, take care, guys.
Good luck.
Bye.
Bye.
NPR podcast Hassan Piker. Wait, NPR, they're the, you know.
In college, I was like, this is insane.
What happened? If you can share. If not,
I just blacked out. I didn't call the ambulance myself. I just woke up at the hospital, and then I saw the bill, and I was like, I can't believe it. And I already had this attitude that a social democracy is perhaps the best possible way to go about things, because I came from Turkey. I saw the importance of public. I just blacked out. I didn't bill, and I was like, I can't believe it. And I already had this attitude that a social democracy is perhaps the best possible
already
way.
had. Okay, but what is he? Okay, surely it's changed. Okay.
To go about things, because I came from Turkey. I saw the importance of public education, free public college, and a nationalized healthcare system. Even if it's not the best funded, it's still really good that it exists, right? That's the attitude that I had. And then when I saw private healthcare here, I was like, oh, it's over. This is the worst thing on the planet. We need to put an end to this immediately. Whoever is doing this, they need to stop. Was my initial attitude.
I could see how that would be a complete shock if it's something you never had to think about before, and you call an ambulance to pick you up in an emergency in a time.
Wait, does he just try to tell them that he's a social democrat? Is that what he's? Wait, what? Where's socialism? In the comment section, he doesn't mention socialism. Communism? Wait, context. Because I wouldn't want my hate watch, my tanky time to be stained by a lack of context. Wouldn't want it to be hampered.
Like associate themselves with right now, in terms of like bros. In general.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there is still a heavy focus on the aesthetics for a lot of politicians. on the liberal side of things, on the Democratic Party side of things, and I think that heavy focus on the optics of it all makes people a lot more careful when bracketing themselves in a certain way. I think that if they were more policy focused, it wouldn't really matter necessarily whether they're coming in this like broy veneer or not. But I think what's most important is to just be honest and be earnest and be who you are. That's what I am, at least. And that's why it's always funny when, you know, the New York Times is writing about me and they ask me like, do you feel like this is a carefully crafted, you know, perfectly balanced out character that you've created? And it's like, no, it's just, no, I just grew up playing video games. I like playing basketball. I like competitive sports. And I like working out. This is just who I am.
A lot of young guys have the same interests and end up going down another political pipeline. And you came out progressive. Like, what kind of caused your political development to, you know, lean toward progressivism?
I mean, growing up in Turkey, I always
have to be honest, but also at the same time as being honest, you have to
Imperial Core where value is generated. I think that in the short term, in order to combat against that,
free healthcare, free healthcare is important. You know, social democracy. It's good. It's good for people to have their stake and to feel that they're cared for from the cradle to the grave in a liberal democracy. Okay, do you want to step through this door and talk to my friends at the Marxist-Leninist Stalin actually didn't kill enough people podcast? Yeah, well, you actually have to, if you want to deal with the imperial core, and you have to advocate for the much more, especially where the surplus value is generated, which is in the imperial core of the socialist, of the capitalist, white supremacist, Zionist ethno-nations. You have to really present these people with a more light form of propaganda.
You have to advocate for a much lighter form of propaganda, despite you know, I perfectly understand that social democracies benefit tremendously from American imperialism, Western imperialism.
Oh wait, that's not good though, is it?
And would not exist in the way that they do.
These guys hate social democracy. Yeah, social fascism. Yeah,
without such atrocities committed, right? But you know, if you want America in the way that I feel about it, and if you want America to get out of the way for places with more revolutionary potential to do what they would normally do, I think that, you know, one thing you have to do is advocate for a lighter form while simultaneously still doing agitated propaganda that goes beyond, you know, social democratic ideas.
Oh, I just want okay.
Had a much more liberal slant, I would say, especially because I saw the formation of the Erdogan coalition, the Erdogan government, and in college I was like, this is insane.
What happened? If you can share. If not,
or is it here?
This guy. Outside of that, I growing up in Turkey always had an anti-imperialist slant, which is a given usually for people on that side of the planet who are privy to the negative consequences of American empire, who get to experience it firsthand.
Famously anti-imperial nation. Okay.
At least secondhand. But when I came to the United States of America, I think that's what was like such a radicalizing moment.
That was where I learned to describe the Kurds as American fucking droog agents.
Moment for me, it was healthcare. It was the ambulance bill that I got when I was in college. I was like, this is insane.
What happened? If you can share. If not,
I just blacked out. I didn't call the ambulance myself.
This is oh god, this is like, you know, when fucking Theodore Herzl said that the Dreyfus affair was what made him realize that assimilation wouldn't work, that we needed a state as Jews. Jews need a state, otherwise they're going to get fucked. Assimilation will, look at Dreyfus. He was the most assimilated motherfucker you could ever have, decorated fucking military guy, still got fucked up like by anti-Semitism. But did you know that Herzl didn't actually, that's not why he became a Zionist. This was a retroactive story that he told. Herzl, at the time of being a journalist, actually thought Dreyfus was guilty. He wrote this. He published it. The reason he would later say that his conversion came about because of Dreyfus is because Dreyfus had become a landmark story. That's it. He just literally just lied and just used it because it told a better story. He was radicalized. He was turned to Zionism by similar events and things like Dreyfus, but it wasn't actually the affair itself that actually made him do it. But that's just the story he would tell. This is what this sounds like anyway.
And then I saw the bill and I was like, I can't believe it. And I already had this attitude that
I really had a really anti-imperial attitude, which is why I got my political start on a show called Young Turks.
Okay. A social democracy is perhaps the best possible way to go about things, because I came from Turkey. I saw the importance of public education, free public college, and a nationalized healthcare system. Even if it's not the best funded, it's still really good that it exists, right?
Really?
Communicate exactly my desires in this way. I felt lonely before. I didn't realize that there were other people who also felt this exact same way. That's my job. And my job is also to obviously inform people. So I think a lot of people see what I have to do as almost like Zoomer NPR, where they just tune in and they get some of their...
Bro, more like fucking Zoomer Pravda. Like, the fuck? NPR. More like fucking Zoomer Red Triangle Al-Qassam PS. Like, what the... The coverage is closer to this than NPR, but okay. Fuck me. Zoomer NPR. Damn. How did... Listen. It's very effective, okay? Because who's listening to me? Well done.
Like their problems, but like, holy, if you're a Democrat, like, I don't know, what are you even building towards and who are you building for, right? Like, what was the constant criticism? Like, these guys need to go out and do podcasts more. They need to go on shows more. I remember joking before the election, if Kamala went on any right-leaning podcast, she'll be eviscerated. Her interview on that, like, CNN, I think it was, with Walz, that was a hard interview. That was on like a liberal platform. And no centrist podcast is going to host her without it being incredibly contentious. And it's like, okay, well, cool. Look, it looks like they're trying to go on and do podcasts now. And the first one she goes on, Sager or whatever, is nicer than Crystal Ball. Crystal Ball's first question to the senator was, why did you even come here? It's like, Jesus Christ.
She gives
like,
tough interviews.
Journalism stuff. Like,
Crystal gives hard interviews. She's not like I don't know what to say. She's known for this. Like I don't think that she just, when it comes to politicians, especially politicians, because she thinks it's a genocide. Given her view that Israel is committing a genocide on Gaza and on the Palestinian people, it makes complete sense why she would ask that question. Like, just grant her view that she's doing that. Like, she's trying to improve the democratic. Like imagine that she really.
What's this?
Fuck America. Fuck this country. Fuck America. Holy fuck, dude. I'm about to pull up like I'm on memory TV and burn an American flag. Screaming fucking
I mean, this is like just edgelord shit, but okay, whatever. Although he does actually kind of mean it. I don't know. It's like when Fuentes does a Holocaust denial joke. Okay.
Really thought that the Democratic base is moving significantly towards being pro-Palestinian and anti-Israel, then in some sense, I don't understand why we wouldn't be pressuring our elected officials to more represent the
I don't think that the Democratic Party is moving to being pro-Palestinian.
I think the polling seems to suggest that. I don't know. Like, have you seen it?
I think there's. I mean, like, who has more? Like, I have more sympathy for the Palestinians than Israel. Like, how do you have sympathy for the Israelis? Okay, these motherfuckers intercept missiles out of the middle of the sky. I feel like I'm like, people are having more sympathy for the Palestinians, but like when it comes to like the solutions that a lot of the socialists implement, like, I don't know how many.
Sympathy does not mean that Democrats are becoming more like fucking vanguard on Israel-Palestine. That's really stupid. You'd need to ask a lot more detailed questions.
Would vote to like pull all support and all funding from Israel? That's like a much deeper, much darker question, especially when
I feel like the Democrats' base is basically saying we don't like the leadership. I don't think in that context, that's not just the crazies online. It's not just me and Josiah Econoboy. It is the broad consensus of the Democratic members that the people who are currently in charge are not doing a good job and they should be replaced. And I haven't watched the interview, and so I don't want to comment. Maybe it was inappropriate. Maybe it was. I don't, in principle, have a problem with that interview or a hard-hitting interview. But in terms of the prescriptions, what I want to know is, how are we fucking up? How am I fucking up? What am I doing wrong that would cause such an upheaval? Like my mentions are insane. Like, people say, like, you abandoned liberalism. It's crazy.
I mean, like going back to, I guess, the same before, I think appealing to the values of socialists is the same thing as appealing to the values of other illiberal groups like Nazis or fascists.
Okay, I don't know how I've done that. When you say, because if you define socialism in the sense that like the whatever your version of it is, how have I done that? We're debating in the Vanguard, for example, like how to implement Biden's strategy, Biden's policy, Biden's promises, Biden's $15 minimum wage, not some crazy.
Okay, I'm curious then. If I'm brain on this, why do you think Hutch had such a contention with the conversation after it happened? What was his problem?
Okay, I love Hutch. Hutch is my boy. Hutch is wonderful, and I always stand by Hutch. I think
is that a bust I hear coming? You're about to throw him under?
I'm not throwing him under. I legitimately think this, that when Hutch hears us like granting some amount of agreement, which we legitimately do with the Vanguard, which is basically that Joe Biden should have signaled better, or he should have seemed more strong, he should have postured more, not with the specifics of kicking Manchin out in West Virginia, not with the specifics of actually obtaining the $15 minimum wage from Joe Manchin, which we both acknowledge is impossible, but just with a more macro view of the Vanguard. That is to say that the Democrats should look like they're giving a little bit more, which I think is a modest take, a modest proposal. I think that Hutch, similar to the audience, which maybe it's reasonable, took that kind of optical stance of us being like, well, we're, middle of the road. On the one hand, Hutch has a point here on the Manchin stuff, but, the Vanguard is saying this. And he took that in the way that many people might have reasonably took, which is that we are trying to both sides it and we're not really having his back here. But it was our honest take, and it is still my opinion. And I was more defensive of Hutch with respect to like the personal comments that the Vanguard had made about like this lip ring and that kind of stuff. And it seemed like they ironed that out at the beginning. And so I wasn't really I was just trying to give my honest take in that moment. And Hutch might have felt a way about that, but I don't think it's because we were genuinely stabbing him in the back or trying to gaslight him. I promise you, I promise you I'm not gaslight. I promise you that I am just formulating my opinion in real time and being honest about it. But people took that.
If you had to, I'm just curious, if you had to guess for like a live and learn audience right now, if you had to guess what percentage of them voted for Kamala in the last election, in your mind, what do you peg that percentage at?
90.
Okay. And then if you had to feel like what percentage of them would have like enthusiastically supported Kamala as a candidate against Trump, not just hated Trump, but enthusiastically supported Kamala as a candidate, in your mind, what is that at?
My intuition is 80. I don't know.
Okay, in my mind, those numbers are like 50-20. No, not that, but like 60-40 is where I'm.
I have a lot of conservatives in my chat. I have a lot of.
Okay, sure. Well, then I don't know. Those, that's not fair.
But I think most of the people who watch my shit are Dems. I do Dem porn. I talk about how Trump is half the time.
That's what I would thought he does.
I don't understand. I don't know if you get this. When you keep saying I just talk about how Trump is, like that's the end. They agree with you there. Like like socialists will agree with you that Trump is bad, but they're just going to say that the Dems are about the same.
Okay, my intuition is that these people acknowledge, like, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I look at my post history, look at my
Twitter. I'm just curious. Like I see like there's tweets like I'm like Cory Booker and stuff. It's like Jesus Christ. Like,
yeah, Cory Booker can be cringe. Cory Booker is cringe in many respects. Now I think Cory Booker sometimes
he's one of the only ones doing anything at the moment.
Yeah, he stood up for 28 hours.
What do you want? Cory Booker's cringe? Like the guy's like,
I don't know. All I'm telling you is Cory Booker sometimes does cringe things. That I've known who Cory Booker is now for years. I'm not telling you that Cory Booker shouldn't vote for Cory Booker. I would need to know the context of the tweet about Cory Booker. Now, I saw what he said about Pete Buttigieg. I think that's stupid and wrong. And Pete Buttigieg, I would be proud to support.
This is Vivian Wolf is in this chat, but again, you don't know what people are. I don't know what. I don't watch enough Pisco to know what the chatters get from his streams, because every time I see his stream titles, there's some boring fucking Trump legal shit. Like, really, you think Ogre Boy's watching Pisco cover legal cases, or I don't know. Like, Vivian appears in my chat, talks to me. Ryan Beard was in his chat too. Yeah, Brian Beard's a social butterfly, isn't he?
Buttigieg, and if it came down to it, and we're still talking, and he were the nominee, you better believe I'm going to go on those streams and be like, "Why are you saying don't vote for Buttigieg? Why are you not enthusiastically supporting Buttigieg?" Like I did in the lead up to the 2024 election, when I was debating vigorously with lefties about not including Ogre Boy, who just talked to you. I was debating.
So far, what I've seen from Pisco is that he seems a bit naive on some of the socialist fucking messaging and signals, and what they mean, and maybe how dangerous they are. I have no idea like how much the Palestine stuff is influencing what he's doing, but that's all I can see. I can see that there's like for my liking, there's like a bit too much charitability to some of these like socialist things, but I don't really know. That's not really like the end of the world. Like I don't think it's a sign of him grifting or anything like that. It's just some people, it's not their focus. He swears Erin isn't a commie. No, he didn't. He said that she wasn't a Marxist-Leninist. We watched it. He said she wasn't a Marxist-Leninist. But then the gotcha clip was her saying, like, I'm a communist. But again, it's in America where none of these fucking words mean anything. I don't know. You can be a communist without being a Marxist-Leninist.
Them vigorously to vote for Kamala Harris, enthusiastically. So to act as though I wouldn't stand on business when we have a nominee, or like part of the whole thing of the beauty of the democratic nomination process, which you've acknowledged, is to suss out what the direction of the party is going to be. This is the time when the Democrats need to define themselves. And so if there's ever a moment for internal critique, if there's ever a moment for us to decide what the direction is, it would be now. And so I'm going to be much more accommodating of that kind of disagreement here in steadying the ship perhaps towards them. Okay, Trump bad, Trump bad, Trump bad.
Okay, I don't necessarily disagree with you here, but like, wait. There's a limit though to like what can happen in the primary process, right? So like if there's two candidates and one is like $7 an hour minimum wage and the other's like 15 an hour minimum wage, and I look at the 7-hour minimum wage person, I'm like, this person wants to, you know, I think this is almost like a slave.
TGG lies, Gaza dies. There's terminally online, and then there is like so online that there's a fucking like black hole vortex materializing at your feet, and it's going to suck in everyone who comes close to you. I'm joking. Okay.
Labor wage. I don't think this is good. Like, this is horrible. If that person wins the primary, I can like kind of begrudgingly like, okay, yeah, whatever, fine, we'll support this person. But if I spend the entire primary calling this person a child rapist or calling them Genocide Joe, how the fuck am I ever expecting that group of people? Like you said earlier, if you really believe that Crystal Ball believes that there's a genocide going on and she's going to push hard on, you know, the whoever she comes to interview. Well, if all the socialists literally believe that it's an actual genocide and the Democrats are complicit in it, holy fuck, how do you vote for fucking like Hitler Jr.? Like, I don't think you can get them on your side at that point. I don't think they're ever going to join.
It's tough, but like I can't change them into not believing.
You just become ContraPoints. Just be like, yes, it's a genocide, but also back the Democrats. And realistically, you're never getting an arms embargo in Israel for the next 10 years. Sorry. See how far that gets you. That's good strong messaging. Everyone's going to be inspired by that shit. God.
That, first of all, because I do believe it, because one is because I do affirm it, and I do believe it now, that it is a genocide, put that aside. But separately, like, even if I didn't, I can't change that notion. I can't change their mind on that.
Like, if you can't change it, like, that's part of my point. There's too many beliefs that can't be changed without sacrificing like the whole other, like the whole mass of the ship of the party. Because now you have to basically become socialist or quasi-socialist, and then you're gonna end up bleeding off like half the party doing that because your base or your moderate left.
I think that more and more people, you're seeing in the polling that yes, this is a very divisive issue, but the Netanyahu in Israel is not popular right now, and it's.
We keep saying that, but you know what's really not popular is socialists. Like, how many? Yeah. How many years, decades have we heard that it's like, this is the election series, this is the time where they're all going to come out, and resoundingly they get crushed over and over and over again. Like, why do we think that this is the path forward?
I don't think if what you mean by socialism,
there's tomfoolery. Damn, tomfoolery in chat. Obviously.
Is tankyism or Marxist-Leninism. I don't think it's the way. But we have Mamdani, AOC. You think AOC might be the way forward? That's not socialism in your mind. So if that's what people mean by socialism, if that's what people think is the way forward, people like AOC and Bernie, great. And if people have, are too harsh on those people, I'm going to fight them for sure. And I will support people like AOC and Bernie. And I agree that they're not left enough for the purists and for the lefties and that kind of shit. But at the end of the day, like, what am I to do? I'm going to try to marshal what I can. I'm going to try to push people in the right direction when I can to vote for the Democratic candidate. And I don't think any mainstream Democrat right now is the worry. The worry is, as you mentioned, right, like the media class.
I think when you say what you do, I think it's pushing and building on the Democratic side of things, not joining a media apparatus that almost exclusively rewards only attacking the Republicans and then only shitting on Dems. Because if you wanted to join right now and do media, you're either a Republican or you're somebody that's probably going to spend a lot of time shitting on the Dems, and then maybe also attacking the Republicans. And like, that's it. Like, in the left-wing media apparatus, that's all there is. And I just think it's really sad that, like,
guys, we just a completely related note about supporting the candidate. If you want to support me as your candidate for the fucking sucks a cock party, I've got two more super chats for the goal. 2 more teal or above super chats for the goal. We got 20 minutes. It's not that long, is it? 20 fucks. I'm gonna do some more. TV, thanks for $2. Das Vildania, thanks for the $5. Captain Dan, thanks for $2. Das Vildania, thanks for $5 again. It's so generous of you. Pisco doesn't get that leftists don't need to be sold on Trump bad. They're immovable on Dem good, though. That's what he doesn't see. Maybe. Yes, why not?
Like, now how do we appeal to these people who have all built careers out of just relentlessly attacking?
Yeah, you say that, but there's just no example of me doing that, right? I get that some people.
No, not you, but you guys have a show called Live and Learn, where now 1/4 of your cast are socialists, and now you're like.
But what he means by socialist, but I respect his truth. That's what he means by socialist. But you take issue with that label, even though it doesn't match what your vision is of socialist.
I don't necessarily take issue with the label. I respect his truth too.
Did they get a lib on the Vanguard podcast? get a two-state solution liberal on the Vanguard podcast. That would be so good. Would you do it? And Cello, thanks for $4.99. True, I am the supreme leader. Curtis, thanks to 10 Canadian. I enjoy you very much, Boxman. Oh, thank you so much. Wow.
Okay, I don't think he's a secret tanky, but what he sees as his new label, other people see as an opportunity to infect and then spread the anti-liberal ideology. Like, it's not like again, if we were in a room full of clones of Bernie Sanders and AOCs and Econo boys, like, well, let's build a socialist. I don't give a fuck at that point, sure. But if we were in a room full of Stalins and Lenins and all these people, and then Econo boy, jumps in, he's like, hey, I'm a socialist. Like, we should appeal these guys, right? I'm like, let's go to the fucking other room.
So what do I do? What do I do? So Econo boy has this whole position about what? First of all, I think capitalism is based. I've always been in favor of private capitalism. But what do you want me to do about it? Like, Econo boy, let's have a conversation about communism, a conversation that you think that I'm not even equipped for. And like, what do you want me to do about that? Like, he has his position. It's grounded in this history of the socialist traditions in these other countries, in these various countries. I can't refute that. He's not going to be convinced by me. So you want to have a struggle session every 2 seconds about you should be a communism.
I don't think there'd be a debate on him all the time. I think if you think that there are reasons why he's a socialist that have like
you don't give a shit about this, dude. You don't really give a shit about this. You're not scared of Econo boy. You're not really scared that Econo boy is going to be he's going to be the Trojan horse by which we enter in a 1,000-year Reich of Marxist Leninism. You're not actually scared about that. I refuse to believe that.
Like, the two largest leftist streamers in the world literally did that to me. That's literally my life. That they came into my community and sucked them, and they are the largest streamers on the left now. And Hassan is an avowed ML, and I don't know where the Vosh is on his crazy socialist journey. But that's literally my life. And you're telling me that I don't think this could actually happen? Like, what the fuck is that statement?
I think that you're not concerned of Econo boy becoming one of these figures, are you? Or I mean, like,
I don't know if he in particular would. I'm just saying that that's the entry point, and that's how all these motherfuckers work, and they say it openly. They openly say it.
I mean,
listen, I don't think. Hold on, I'm not saying that you should kick Econo boy off the show, or you should never do content with the Vanguard or anything like that. I'm just saying that, like, it's so sad. Like, Hunter's one of the only people I see now in the world who's not like, yeah, I'm a Democrat, but like, oh yeah, it's a massive genocide, and the Dems suck shit, and I wish that Biden wouldn't have been senile, wouldn't have fucking pardoned his son. I mean, like, I just want there to be like,
but he shouldn't. He shouldn't have. He shouldn't have.
Liberal, I know that's fine, but I need like one other liberal on the planet, on this platform, anywhere that's not just constantly bending over to take it up the ass, from every single other political partisan, just somebody that can actually just stand on business for like liberal politics.
Well, you have Hunter Biden. You have Hunter Biden. If you want to do content with like Vanguard other people, that's fine, but you can't be surprised when there's a huge eye roll and like, oh, it's these guys who are making the jokes about Buttigieg. Like, one of the liberals out there doing more like podcast work than anybody else. Okay, you can't talk about jokes, dude. I know you ain't talking about jokes. I know that your ass ain't talking about jokes. I know that you're not saying, oh, roll eyes because they made bad jokes and jokes that people disagree with. I know that it can't be you.
Wait, what do you mean when I say make bad jokes?
Jokes that people find that are marginal in terms of whether or not they're in good taste, whether or not they're
you think that my issue with jokes about Pete Buttigieg is that they're in bad taste?
Yeah, what is your critique about that?
Mike, if you want to make jokes about people getting in the ass, make them about Lindsey Graham, not about Pete Buttigieg.
So now you care about. Oh wait. So
what did Buttigieg say that made the Vanguard call him a rat?
I think that he also
Connor. It's the white blood cell. The white blood cell's attacking.
Just as a matter of campaign strategy, was omnipresent. He was everywhere. He was going on podcasts. He was doing social media, and so I think a lot of more conventional political operatives didn't see him coming.
Andrew Cuomo had a more conventional media campaign.
For sure. And I think in many ways, he, in addition to the moral disqualifications that went with his history, he just didn't, if anything, he reminded, I think, a lot of people of the status quo. So I think a lot of people are focused on the leftism, the ideological leftism, that I think we shouldn't be so surprised that prevailed in a New York Democratic Party primary. But I think if my party wants to learn lessons from Mamdani's success that are portable to a place like Michigan, where I live, it's less about the ideology and more about the message discipline of focusing on what people care about and the tactical wisdom of getting out there and talking to everybody.
These guys don't want to win. I don't care if you are willing to concede to every time you bump into a liberal in a blue moon and you're like, yeah, surely, yeah, it's not as bad as, Democrats are, they're like a diet Hitler, I'd still vote for them through harm reduction. Like, come on, man. Like, you don't want to win. You don't really care that much about losing. Fuck.
not the heteronormative. So because I was in tongue in cheek saying heteronormative, and I was like, oh my god, soy.
I told you it was a fucking joke. You guys are retarded. All right, thank you.
It's about who's being attacked. When I say jokes about the gay shit, it's not the fact that it's gay. It's the fact that it's about our candidates. I mean, you generally probably shouldn't make homophobic or whatever, but it's about the fact that it's more about the fact they're attacking our candidates.
Okay, but they don't like Pete Buttigieg. Guess what? If I hate Fetterman, would you say like if I'm pressing about Fetterman that like I'm bad faith, I'm just attacking our candidates? I know you see people differently than Fetterman, but that's just because that's your view.
Fetterman's not fair. Okay, fuck Fetterman. Okay. Pete Buttigieg, I feel like, is somebody that we should be, like, I feel like every liberal should largely be, like, in decently large agreement with Pete Buttigieg. It should largely be supportive of the fact that he's one of the only Dems that seems to be brave enough to be running around on doing
because you like him. But if you hated him, like Fetterman, you'd be making brain dead jokes. And you wouldn't give a fuck because you think...
and if I had a oven in my stomach, you could bake bread in my tummy. What the fuck do you mean? The whole point is who do you support? I support Pete Buttigieg because he's a liberal Democrat. Yeah, no shit. That's the whole point.
Yeah, but they hate Pete Buttigieg because they feel
he's a liberal Democrat. Yes, that's my point. Sorry, I'm sorry. Hold on.
It's fucking insane. And like, yeah, they're far left, more to the left, and they have strong critiques for centrists. But
they hate centrists. They hate Democrats.
But Fetterman is also the candidate. Fetterman is a Democratic candidate. Fetterman is a Democratic incumbent.
In general, I would support Fetterman.
I would. Wait. I would too. But that guy is in my metaphoric bullseye. I don't want to be global entry canceled. He's in my bullseye, and I'm going to talk about Fetterman and talk about the Lake and Riley Act. I'm going to be talking about all his like embarrassing moments and being incredibly brutal through the primary, because that's what the primary process is about. Like if there's some cringe candidate that I perceive as cringe, I'm going to talk
any of this. But you're not wanting, you don't hate Fetterman because he's a liberal and you want to replace him with a socialist. You think he's a shitty Democrat. They hate Pete Buttigieg because Pete Buttigieg represents a lot of things.
Have you asked them? I don't know. But they support Tim Walz. They think Tim Walz is based. That's not a socialist.
Tim Walz is like on the borderline for them.
They like Tim Walz. They like in AOC, even though they have the one disagreement there about the whatever funding. But guess what? AOC made that vote before. AOC did that vote years ago. And guess what? They still like her. They'll still vote for her. That's what when you were soying out, I couldn't believe it, right? Like when we were making the empirical point that, yeah, this one thing that AOC said, it's not going to really change the lefties' disposition to them over the long run. We were making an empirical point that nothing ever happens. That was just another example of us sweeping, and saying it doesn't matter, totally misconstruing it. But the reality is these people, they'll critique their family member if they're running for election. They're purists to the core, but at the end of the day...
To be clear, they absolutely will not critique their socialist candidates. Absolutely not. No way in hell. They love their socialist
candidates. They just did it. AOC, I thought that your whole point was that she was not...
They don't consider... Doug, I know that you don't believe me when I say this, okay? Talk to whoever in your life does socialism. Socialists do not consider AOC a socialist, okay? Nobody that is like on theory and all these people, they will not consider AOC
You think they consider Tim Walz socialist? And they like Tim Walz?
Not. No.
Yeah, and they like Tim Walz.
Maybe.
And they like Tim Walz.
I don't know what their position is on Walz. Listen, if you want to do what you want to do, I mean, like obviously you can do what you want to do. But it's just like it's just another episode. It's another liberal podcast. It's not like, oh, let's go talk to the guys that hate our party just as much as they hate the Republicans, and let's see how we can talk to them in a friendly manner.
With Josiah steering the ship, he will never, ever let it be said on that and let people forget that the Democrat is preferable to the Republican. That is his like mantra. Like, do you really not have faith in Josiah to make that point clear, that clear distinction?
I have faith in Josiah. Josiah seems very clever. I don't actually know what his position was in the Vanguard thing, though, was it? What? Couldn't tell you.
When the Democrat and Republican, you really think that, like, I trust Josiah with that. Josiah would never let me, this entire podcast is premised on the notion that we would be the kind of, now I know Econo Boy came out, that's his truth, he wants to be a socialist, that's power to him. I believe he's still a liberal. I think it's compatible on his vision of what, socialism means. I do think it's compatible. I don't think there's a contradiction, but our entire thing was, why don't we get a podcast of people who actually like the Democrats more than Republicans and actually talk them up. That was our whole mantra. And we're like expanding and trying to talk to people and see our point of view. I'm trying to get them to be more based about constitutionalism, liberalism. I'm trying to give them the rundown on law stuff. I'm trying to, but your audience is trying to fuck me over, trying to say that like I'm like a shitty person, that I'm cooked, and it's making it impossible. And I think that you want that to happen. That's my intuition, is that you like that. You like to see, I don't know, sticking the knife in us and watching the chaos.
I do wonder. It does seem a bit weak that Destiny isn't really giving specific examples for what Pisco was saying in like one of these debates or whatever. Like it's something that he's done there that's ceding too much ground to these like lefty types, because it's all like, it is just like vibes. And if you're Pisco and you genuinely don't feel like you've done anything that bad, then it's going to be quite hard to communicate that now. Like I know that people are convinced by the characters that are in Pisco's chat, but you can't just use that as a proxy for. Obviously, people have some responsibility over their audience, but it's not like that's not really like your proxy for why his behavior is a problem. So in this whole 8 hours of watching this, all I can see so far is that Pisco seems a bit naive on some of the signals, or a bit just doesn't know, or a bit unaware of some of the signals that socialists give and like what exactly they mean by it and how you separate like the authoritarian leftists from the non-scary ones, right? Like that seems to be the only issue I'm noticing so far in this whole fucking 8 hours, and also that saying yes or no all the time is cringe, but that doesn't. It seems like there's more going on here that.
Or the Republicans and actually talk them up. That was our whole mantra. And we're like expanding and trying to talk to people and see our point of view. I'm trying to get them to be more based about constitutionalism, liberalism. I'm trying to give them the rundown on law stuff. I'm trying to, but your audience is trying to fuck me over, trying to say that like I'm like a shitty person, that I'm cooked, and it's making it impossible. And I think that you want that to happen. That's my like intuition, is that you like that. You like to see, you know, I don't know, sticking the knife in us and watching the chaos. That's my intuition. You tell me it's wrong.
Have you seen any of my coverage of any of you guys prior to this engagement?
It was positive. It was positive before my take on the Hassan global entry thing and before what I said about the Ethan Klein lawsuit, which I want to remind the audience you agreed with me, except for my focus on the Ethan Klein lawsuit didn't seem to matter. The fact that we fundamentally agreed that the lawsuit was strong, that it was the filing was unhinged.
Okay, wait. So you just said that you feel like I'm doing this out of spite, and then I asked you what happened, and then you just gave me two concrete examples.
I don't know.
A reasonable mind could say, maybe you dramatically disagreed, but it's not like I went off for months and months on these particular things. These are things that I disagree with. But I don't think I developed spite 2 weeks ago. And
Why did you block me? Why did you block me?
because of the. I don't know how much you want to jump it all up, but the fact that Aaron is just somehow like crept back at everything, it is like, that's just wild to me. But I just, for my own brain and my own sanity, I was like, okay, whatever. Like, you know what? People can do their own shit, and I'll just be over here doing my own shit.
Well, final prescriptions. I mean, it's late. So
I know why I'm angry at Aaron. Am I being really autistic now? Why is Steven angry at Aaron? Some of the DMs that she gave to Sunday were also between Aaron and Sunday, right? Also, I do, in part, in quite large part actually, I do kind of blame Aaron giving that stuff to Sunday and it getting published for everything unfolding in such a chaotic, like, wild way. No, actually, yeah, it's kind of obvious. Because so much of that stuff that she gave to Sunday also, like, gave Sunday the material for that video, which obviously speaks about Destiny a very bad light as well. What a fucking what possessed her to do? I can't get my head around it. I can't get my nut around it.
What is the ethical? Let's grant your semantics on socialism. Let's grant everything, and let's just say what do you think is ethical for us to do?
This is what I would want to see at the end of the day. Okay, if you think that you can cast a net that will encompass some socialists because you're pushing some aspects of liberalism so hard, I think that's fine. Okay, what I would want to see at the end of the day, ideally, is these guys going back to their chats and their chats screaming at them, being like, "Why the you guys like push harder for how shitty the Dems are? Why do you guys push harder?" And I get them to admit that like the Dems are the same as the Republicans. That's what I want to see in their chats. Not after they leave your chat, you know, like on like only the liberals left of the podcast be like, oh, like why is this guy such a loser? Like, you know,
my community, my community was mostly DGGers. You know, my community, or you know, there's so much overlap. You want to know, like I
don't think it was Discord, that way before the initial when you guys did the initial living. I didn't watch it. I watched the VOD of that when Hutch was the one who had problems. So I guess you're saying he had problems for no good reason. I guess was the issue, or
I think that he had problems with the optics, like a lot of other people did, and I can understand why some people that he might feel that way. I don't think that it's based in some. I think it's based in kind of like how it felt, but I don't think it's based on an objective like look at what occurred. If that's my take on it, and I think that I wasn't trying to gaslight him. I like Hutch a lot. You know, Hutch is my boy. I'm not trying to betray Hutch. I would never try to throw him under the bus. Like it's just not that way. Like offline, we have a very amicable relationship. So yeah, it wasn't that at all. And my community is highly critical. Unlike you, I don't delete all the criticism of me in my own Discord and even in my own Reddit. Now that I have a Reddit, like I don't delete that. People talk mad shit, and so it's just not the case that like my community is becoming.
I don't even understand what. Never mind. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, my community is not becoming ML. It's not becoming like mass communists. The kind of fears that you're raising is like not true.
Change, Pisco.
I've changed. How have I changed?
No, you're a community. Relax.
Yeah, but you were talking. You know what, Mantis? Do you know what you did? You tweet at me. I know it
I
now.
know what I did, Pisco. That's why I'm here. And did you get my response?
No, I didn't get a response.
Well, you should look at your tweet.
I get so many ads and shit, like, but it's just that's the kind of shit, and it's everywhere, and I do resent it. And so yeah, when I started that debate, I was angry as fuck. But you know, it's because of, I feel like it's been a nonstop attack. You know, Dan is talking to Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein is adding me saying I'm not a real lawyer. They're saying I'm no different than Mike from PA. They're saying I don't know shit about the law. They're saying so this has been a campaign. By, at least by Dan Saltman, specifically to smear me, to specifically attack me. You watch him whenever, you know, there's any controversy involving me. You guys talked about me for like 3 or 4 weeks straight, talking about my takes there. And so there's a direct causal role in how much I was covering the Ethan Klein and Hassan story based on the unhinged response of someone who lies about me, mischaracterizes me. And I think that you feed into it and you play into it. And I think that you have a causal role as well. I think your audience does too.
I feel like you should watch, and I understand the temptation to, especially when you've got like actual subhuman resources like Queeman feeding you lines in chat or in Discord. You should watch some of the videos sometimes. Like, Dan is unhinged. Dan does have an unhinged participation in a lot of it. Generally, when Dan is like going in on people, I'm usually telling Dan most of the time, like, bro, this is like kind of unhinged, or this is kind of. I think when you give a return take, I'll say it's a return take. When you give a good take, I'll say give a good take. But yeah, there's obviously shit I disagreed with on your hyperfixation on the lawsuit. But also, like, you can't pretend that you don't also feed into it too. Like, when Hassan comes out and says, like, okay, guys, I lied about my whole timeline, and then your next stream is like 100% vindication, completely.
But you know
like,
why that is. But it's not because of the lie there, because it has to do with the timing of the global gentrification. So, and where you agree with me, that's what's so fucking crazy. Like, we disagree on the interpretation. And no one can say it's bad faith because I'm in my own Discord having these long legal discussions with members of my own community.
Pisco. As a viewer, just a viewer, okay, so separate from like all the spite driven, but just as a viewer of all communities, all of both of yours, Destiny and Pisco, like Pisco, you have to understand how it came across as a viewer of yours, where all of a sudden you've defended Hassan on the plane thing, like, and you really went pretty arrogantly hard on that, like,
and still do.
Yeah, see, look, yeah, your vindication lap, rah.
No, it's still my position.
Okay, I know. Just listen. Then you went after Ethan for the lawsuit thing. You kind of like, you don't want to call it this, but there was a little.
One. I think they're just happy that he got mentioned, right?
Am I ganging up on Hutch with like the Vanguard? Then you kind of do talk about them sucking more than liberals or moderates would, I think.
What?
And I think you're very clear that you're willing to say that. You just said it in this call that you do think that Dems suck right now. You do think
the leadership, the way the leadership.
And then no one. Yeah, but the thing you don't understand is most reasonable people don't actually think you're a socialist or don't actually think that you're like anti-democratic or anti-dem. It just helps. All of this like helps with that like optics narrative. It just all looks bad in sequential order. It just does, and
it looks
like,
bad because
I've been annoyed by it.
It looks bad. I think when people don't take it the full context of what I'm saying. Like another example of it was when we were going over the re-education camps, and it was so clear what I was doing there. It was so clear that what I was dealing with was someone saying explicitly this says that he's in favor of re-education camps, when it says the direct opposite. When I'm literally saying, give me the best evidence, show me where he's saying Marxist-Leninist, where it is, like, because it could be the case that other things inform this conclusion. Notwithstanding the fact that I'm making specific carve-outs and saying I'm only talking about the four. Can we agree this doesn't literally say this? Notwithstanding that fact, notwithstanding the fact, the moment that people provided clips to me that say that where he says I'm a Marxist-Leninist, I said yes, Marxist-Leninist. Happy to grant it. When I specifically asked for it, I have 100-long comment threads saying, you know, look at him, he's a tanky Paul. And you too, Mantis, you said that as well, based on that specific stream.
Can I tell you why, after that conversation in particular, I was like, oh, holy shit. You can say it's stupid if you want to say it's stupid, but like, because those of us who have watched a ton of Hassan's bullshit, you were taking his words literally, like, oh, he didn't literally say this, he didn't literally say that. It just comes across super autistic when you can't take someone in their
Well, maybe I'm a little autistic.
Is devious in their actions and devious and puts masks on and takes them off. We already had this conversation, and you kind of agreed with me that he does do that. So if you're capable of understanding that he does do this thing, but then when you get into a conversation with someone who's providing you with all the best evidence they can because he's a sneaky motherfucker, and then you say, oh, well, but he's not really saying this thing, I think you're kind of being a little obtuse.
No, right? but I'm just trying to understand and clarify the term.
Australian, or is she Kiwi? I don't know.
Because I am a little bit like I'm on this linearization kick because I do think it's helpful to how it reflects how I think, and that's just how I approach these issues because that's who I am. But I have no problem acknowledging, as I've often done, that there's a broader context here. But even just put that aside, man. Like this whole thing just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and so many assumptions I've never seen. Like I'm not saying other people don't get it, but yeah, and I'm not trying to like play victim. I'm just trying to get you like in my head, paint you a picture like why I'm pissed as fuck going into that conversation, and I think it's reasonable. I think that there's lies being told. I think that there's malice, and I think it's unfortunate. And now the prescription is like I don't even know what it is.
Well, hold on. I'm curious. Okay, before I go to bed, what do you think I'm like acting in malice for? What's like your top one or two things you're like, there's no way you could legitimately believe this thing?
I think that there's no way that you could think that specific point when we're talking about just example from our conversation. We're talking about Marxist-Leninism when you must know that I know that Aaron is a communist. You must know that we're like having a conversation specifically about these nuances and applications.
You acknowledge that this point of contention spawned off from you demanding in the middle of a debate for me to produce video evidence of the beliefs of somebody on your show.
No, that's a lie. No, I said specifically, and and anyone can just go back and hear it. You just listen to it. I said, tell me the thing she told you. Tell me the thing it is that is. I didn't say specifically bring the clip. And the reason is because you brought up Aaron there, and you brought up Aaron.
Wait. Tell me the thing you told her. How is that not asking? Like, okay, I'm sorry, my bad. You didn't ask me for a video. You asked me for a specific quote.
What am I supposed to? So what do you want me to do in that moment? So in that moment,
Stephen just shouldn't have said that Aaron was a Marxist-Leninist. I don't think he has the evidence for that. Does he? I don't know if they had conversations in person that I don't know about. I've only heard of one thing that she said that might be that kind of but it's even. No, it's not even. It's not even. Yeah.
Just had a conversation with Aaron on stream where I said, are you Marxist-Leninist? And she said, no, I'm not. And everything I've seen of her.
That's just what a Marxist-Leninist would say. Oh, no.
You know, she might have an incoherent theory because all communism leads to Marxist-Leninism. I don't know what it is, but I just had a conversation with her. She's my podcast host, and you say, and not like these good socialists like Econoboy, but these bad socialists like Straight. And in that moment, you want me to just sit there and be like, and like what, not defend and be like, wait, you just called her a Marxist-Leninist. I just had a conversation with her. She said she's not a Marxist-Leninist. I know her to be valuing.
You understand that like the whole when you can't like that's not you can't like you can't ask somebody for like a fascist or a Nazi, right?
It's relevant. I know it's not the same thing. It's not like the exact definition isn't self-ID, but someone's ID is relevant but there's a broader amount of evidence that I'm pointing to, like the fact that she identifies as such, the fact that she canvasses for Democrats, which most MLs do not do. Most MLs do not canvass for Democrats. I've talked to her about different fundamental rights like due process and free speech that she cares about, and so I'd have no reason to think that she's an ML. I have no reason to think she's an ML. And in that moment, all I'm doing there is when you go after Aaron to, I don't know what your purpose was there, maybe to attack me personally, or maybe to attack the fact like what I'm doing. And in that moment, I'm just defending her.
Wait. Was it to attack you personally, or to further illustrate the point of like I feel like this whole project is like.
You think you're just kind of like winding down to the end of the day, and then you just get fucking jolted by the chat. I asked her, she said, no, I must defend her honor. And Loner thinks women can't influence men. Wars are fought over women. It's not misogynistic. Forgive me for trusting Pisco's intelligence a little bit more than the idea that he is getting swayed by fucking Aaron. I feel like that's something my dad would try to say to me as an argument. Like, the Aaron is strong and weak at the same time. Sorry.
Orienting in a very weird direction.
Fucking
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
Well, you can't. If I were to.
Yes, Aaron is in fact Helen of Soy. Okay.
If I were to start co-hosting with Myron Gaines and you attack me for that, what I think, wow, I think Pisco's just jealous.
What a comparison! What a fucking comparison! Do you really think that Myron Gaines is comparable to Aaron?
I think Myron Gaines is a little bit more radical, but Aaron is incredibly radical. Yes, she's extremely radical. That this was like a running joke in my community for years. Her whole entry point into my stream was debating me as like the radical college student. Yeah.
Even on the same level. I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, this is crazy. Myron Gaines is a freak, an anti-Semitic freak.
What the fuck cares about the anti-Semitism? Like Aaron's positions on anti-Semitism are.
You do, dude. Dan, that's Dan's whole MO. His whole project is to fire Dan Clancy, and the whole thing is like saying Hassan is going to genocide the Jews. You do.
Okay, again, I don't know if you don't watch my content. That's fine. Okay, like I know that you've been whispered this by every single person that me and Dan are literally sitting in our alcove planning and scheming all this shit. I don't give a fuck about like 95% of Dan's fucking commitment to taking out Twitch or any other shit that he does. Talk to Dan. Talk to Ethan Klein on that shit. I don't give a fuck most of the time for any of that. You can ask my chat. You can watch literally any program.
It feels like he's your attack dog. It feels like he's your attack dog. You have plausible deniability. That's what it feels. I'm just telling you how it feels. I'm telling you how it feels.
No, you're wrong. It doesn't feel like he's my attack dog. You've been told that he's my attack dog. That's what you feel because that's what the people in your chat are telling you, and they cannot produce any clips of that. Because every single time Dan goes in, generally on you guys or anything else, I'm usually saying like, bro, come on, like this is retarded. Like we're not doing the personal attacks. Or, like this is weird. Or I don't care about that. Like that's like 95% of the time Dan is like attacking anybody. And even on like the Dan Clancy, I'm like, oh boy, more Dan Clancy. Like he like is begging me for mod to ban people who are yes honeying him in chat. Like you're going by like what people in chat have told you on this. Like I know it. I know for a fact.
Stop gaslighting me, bro. Stop trying, bro. It's not working.
We think he's unhinged too.
No, you don't. No, you don't. What is this
Bro, the memes in chat are literally always Dan talking about the nothing burger and the fact that like if I were to show you my DM, like there's like the meme of like Pisco's world is like Dan's DMs with Steven, and it's like, okay, today we're gonna call Pisco a fake lawyer, and then tomorrow we're gonna go after Aaron, and tomorrow, and like Dan's actual DMs with Destiny is like, please give me mods so I can ban these people. Please give me mods so I can ban these people. Why don't I have mod yet so I can ban these people? Like that's literally all we talk about. And you can watch again for any of these fucking subhuman piece of shit, whether we're talking about Queeman or Aaron or any of these losers, ask them, give me an actual fucking clip of Destiny like going in personally or being an attack dog or using Dan as an attack dog on these people. It literally never fucking happens. It doesn't.
So why shouldn't you be canceled for? I don't know. Well, listen, I gotta go to bed. This is stupid. I guess I don't. I'm left not knowing. I'm left not knowing what the criticism is. What is disagreement? I started that conversation saying I don't think there's disagreement. I don't think there's substantive disagreement, and it seems like we're boxing in shadows because it's kind of ill-defined in what way that Vanguard called him go that way, like the right way. It's kind of ill-defined. It's just maybe my association and the timing of when.
The topic of the show is like, do we appeal to like the left? No, I'm sorry. Do we appeal to socialists? And
Queeman mentioned too the chimps. Oh, it's so unserious.
Some of the conversation with Hutch, although it kind of goes back and forth a little bit, it's hard to track, was like, should the Democratic Party be trying to appeal to socialists? And then when you say socialist,
I guess it depends what you mean by socialist, and if what you mean by
socialist.
Not even just
that, but even if we all agree, even if I grant that AOC and Bernie and Econoboy are socialists, right? It's like saying, like, do you think that our movement should be full of like criminals? And it's like, well, I don't know. And you're like, well, wasn't MLK technically a criminal because he got arrested? Like, okay, sure, but clearly that's not what we're talking about. That's the issue. Is just like the broad appeal of appealing to socialists by appealing to socialist values, rather than just like pushing hard on the lib message and not like having another show and another group of people that are like, oh shit, well, look at what happened 12 months later. It's another group of people that got turned to hardcore socialists, and now they're all just shitting on Dems constantly, saying both sides are the same. I don't know if that's the only thing that would bother me. I think it would bother Hutch. I don't hate any of you guys. You know, I think you're sometimes. I still love everybody. But yeah, I don't know. Listen, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that in 12 months you're dancing on my stream's grave and all these socialists are out like supporting the Dems, even if all their primary people don't win. That would be great and amazing. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna go the exact opposite way. And yeah. And even when you bring up examples of me talking to other radical people, like, oh, didn't you talk to the Daily Wire people? Like, and I think you've even better when I said this. I hate those conversations now. I think I was way too nice. And I regret the conversation I had with Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson and Candace, and even those were combative in ways that, like, I don't think you guys were with the Vanguard. Not to say you suck them or anything, but yeah, that's my broad perspective. But you know, I hope I'm wrong. And yeah,
bye.
I made like a whole outline for this debate, but I guess it was a waste of time. Should we court leftists?
No, it's not the debate notes. Throw the debate notes in the bin. Hang on.